coming with the heat though. I'm clutch with the free throws. Never seen the street clothes. Orange tears to the chapter. Always gon' rap. Gon' rock the spot. Till it ain't nothing left. You may know him from the next morning drive in the morning. And you may know him from the Knicks at Night podcast. Give it up for Florence here, their own Uncle Freezy. Yeah. Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one chief rockin' Knicks universe, your main man, Uncle Freezy. And welcome to the thing we call the Knicks at Night podcast. My energy is way up. Get your energy up, folks. Y'all know the nighttime is the right time. Let's go. Let's talk this Knicks talk the way that y'all like to have this Knicks talk to y'all, right? Got my peoples coming through. Got my main man backstage. Let me see who we got backstage. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Mr. Lee is in the building. What's good, sir?
What's good? Peace and salute. And like I always say, Queens is in the building. What's
Queens good? Get the money.
We try.
Manhattan keeps on making it. Y'all know where I'm ready to go? Yo. Manhattan keeps on making it.
With it. But we here.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to the chat. You know what I'm saying? Fall through. Anyway, what's goody good, man? Seen your dope show earlier today.
Yeah, man. We got somebody else backstage. Hold on. Y'all know how these superstars are with these intros. You gotta do it right. Hold on. Yo, what's up, boss?
I'm chilling. What up, Lee? What up, Freezy? What up to the chat?
We got a lot of stuff to talk about, boss.
That We Talk NBA was a good look, though.
Yeah, man. We trying to do a little something, bro.
Oh, yeah, I peeped it. It was a good look, man. Shout out to Rel and shout out to Damon. Shout out to the Mavs. Glow Mavs Nation showing up. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That happened out of nowhere. I was like watching Netflix. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, what am I going to talk about, man? You know, I want to save the All-Star break talk for like a daytime show. So I was like, yeah, what am I going to do? What I'm going to do? You know what I'm saying? And then, Rel hit me up like, what you doing? I want to get on, but he like, let's get the crew together. Okay, let's do it. And so we got a big surprise for everybody, bro. So right now it's officially like We Talk Hawks, you know what I'm saying, the homie. We Talk Mavs, you know what I'm saying, the homie, and Lawrence Tears. but it's like 7 to 8 others that's like waiting, trying to get themselves together. So after a while, we're gonna have like this network of Sixers, Clippers, Kings, Jazz, Knicks, Hawks, Mavs, Heat. After a while, bro, it's gonna
Even
be
the
crazy.
Heat,
Heat, bro.
Oh,
Even the Heat.
that's gonna be heat.
Yeah. Yo, and I hear them talk, bro. They talk mad grimy about the Knicks, bro. You never know how much a team is your rival until you hear them talk about the rivalry, bro.
The fan base.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
look,
you never know.
some people,
I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
some people out there still not letting go of that Allen Houston floater. They're
Yeah,
still not letting go of that.
it's like a Fabulous song. They sound, yo, you might as well play Fabulous as your intro, bro. You still not letting go? Let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all crazy.
Yeah. You never know how much of a rivalry you don't have with the fan base until you hear the Chicago Bulls talk about the Knicks. The Chicago Bulls like, who the Knicks? There ain't nobody. And you like, yo, I know good and well the Chicago. Yo,
What's good? What's good?
bro, you know every time I see you, I think about the Parquets, right? Every time I see you pop up, I'll be thinking about the Parquets, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Actually, but you know, my favorite funk group or groups is actually Cameo.
Cameo.
Cameo and the Gap Band.
And the Gap Band.
Mm.
Yeah. I like the R&B version of the Gap Band better. My favorite funk band, and a lot of them made the conversion to R&B, right? But I really like the I like Kool and the Gang.
Yeah,
right.
Cool.
But when it was a funk band, they was just like one in a number. But when it was R&B,
when they went R&B, they took it to another level.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah. The Confunction.
Yeah. But so, you can't go wrong with that. And even when Cameo even changed their sound, still to this day though, one of my favorite tracks is Alligator Woman.
I thought you was gonna say Sparkle.
Oh, Sparkles is a classic right there. But I'm talking about when you're talking about up tempo. Hey, Alligator Woman had me. Hey, that was my thing. That and Shake Your Pants.
Say back and forth.
That's coming a little earlier. But I was going back. With Shake Your Pants, Flirt. I'm throwing out some old stuff. I know I'm dating myself, but it's back in the days. Hey, it's back in the days with the reel to reel and you had the reel to reel and an 8-track going. Like
it sounds like the music y'all listen to, y'all have actual memories attached to it. Like you could put on a song and you recall a specific girlfriend from around the way from that time or something like that.
Man, it brings you back. Between that and that that Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, that and bro, and listen. So I've been a Knicks fan forever, right? And so some of these songs, when I hear it, I think about like standing in front of the dresser, and I know this is old school, right? Now
picking out your pro.
People get dressed in their bathrooms now, but back in the day, we used to get dressed in our room. You know what I'm saying? In front of the dresser, like the old dresser set your grandma might have gave you. You know what I'm saying? With the big mirror, and it got the little ornament things all in it or whatever. And listening to you got your little radio, 98.7 Kiss FM in the mornings.
Everybody had a Kiss FM.
Yes, and this is before they were playing. I'm sorry, not Kiss FM, but WBLS. And this is before they were playing R&B. This is when they were playing when they were just playing strictly pop. right? This is when they was playing Strictly Pop, right? Being that mirror boy and that you remind me from Patrice Russian. Come on,
you remind me of Forget Me Nots.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yo, shout out to the chat, man. I appreciate y'all support. Y'all coming through, rocking with, you know what I'm saying, the number one chief rocking Knicks University, main man, Uncle Freezy. In a late night, I got the crew here that's going to talk this Knicks talk the way that y'all like to have this Knicks talk to y'all. It's a whole lot of stuff to talk about. We got to recap the entire first half of the season. Got to talk about the trade deadline. Got to talk about what we expect in these last 22 games. And dare I say, who we want to see in the playoffs. Dre, this is getting ready to lead to an interesting conversation, bro. What I'd like to do is start at the end and work my way back.
Oh, okay. All right.
What I'd like to do is for you to point out the playoff scenario that you prefer, right? And let's talk about our pros and cons, right? And I know it's not safe to look ahead as a Knicks fan, but the reason why it's safe to look ahead as a Knicks fan is because 2 years ago, Tom Thibodeau finished his last 20 games. I think Tibbs was 16-4.
Yep.
His first year. And I know it sounds like a tongue twister. His first year here, his last 20 games, he was 16-4. Last year, with a terrible roster, the team finished 12-8. And then this year, we're projecting.
Okay.
Now, mind you, teams are tanking. Teams are gonna be tanking this last stretch. Let's not get it twisted, right? And also, this is about the time where all the paper champions and pretenders see that leak, that oil leak that they had, finally blows up their engine. Like all these Chicago Bulls type teams, these Brooklyn Nets type teams that are leaking oil, whatever. I think now's the time you'll see the Knicks elevate because the Knicks are a good team. I think we're going to pass some teams, right? In my mind, Dre, I think the Knicks are going to catch. I think the Knicks are going to catch the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let me bring my guy in here real quick.
I agree with you.
Waiting patiently. Let me bring him in. You know how these superstars get. You can't have them waiting, bro. You can.
Salute everyone. Freezy, Corey, Dre, Soul, Finger. What's good, y'all? Salute to the chat. Salute to the panel. What's good?
What's cracking, Adam?
What's good, boss?
What's good, Adam?
So we're projecting. We're projecting ahead, man. We talking about the playoffs, man. DSJ had a comment in the chat. I just want to do this. I'm not going to speak to DSJ's comment. I'm just going to put it on the screen, right? I'm not going to say anything to. You know what? Let me read it. That's why we don't need to look ahead. We spanked the Hawks in the regular season, and we got embarrassed. I'm not going to speak to it. I'm only going to do this.
Wow. Comedy.
Really?
Freezy.
Really? That's what we doing?
DSJ has a point with that, but we also, at that point, this roster is way more talented
Hey, well, let me. I'm gonna bring DSJ up here. Hey,
Oh, there
DSJ,
you
guess
go.
what?
I don't need theme music. I don't need theme music. Summer breeze, make me feel. Never mind.
Hey, you know what? You know what, DSJ? Since you brought up that you brought up the thing, man, about the Knicks being afraid. Guess what I did? You said the Knicks. You said the Knicks shouldn't look ahead.
Don't look ahead.
So guess what? Guess what, DSJ? Since you are scared, I got you a dog.
A guard dog.
Appreciate it. I want to court you.
Okay, all right. And what I'm saying to Knicks fans out there, man, listen. And I lobbed it up for Dre, and then I went back on it and got in his way. But Dre, let me say this just real quick, and then I'll get out of the way.
Mm.
I think the Knicks understand what it is that they want to do, and they are correcting the mistakes that they make internally and externally by doing small moves. They do things internally with major moves. You don't see them because you see the same player and you assume that actions are actions, right? But then they go out externally and address certain. My prime example, the last time we played the Hawks before yesterday, or before the day before yesterday, DeJounte Murray got into the lane and got his floater off anytime he felt like it. Y'all remember that? The game in Atlanta?
Right.
He just got in the lane and just threw up his floater. You could not stop it. And we tried RJ. Yeah, we tried RJ on him. We tried Grimes on him. We tried Quickly on him. We tried Brunson on him. I think we tried Obi. We tried. And you know what they did, bro? They went out and got Josh Hart. He tried the same thing, and he couldn't get it off. And this latest game, he looked flustered, and we blew the brakes off them. So they made the adjustment internally. It didn't work. So then they went out, and they were like, yo, we need an outside thing to fix this. And Josh Hart tried it. I mean, and DeJounte Murray tried it over and over and over again to the point where he looked flabbergasted. He looked flustered. He even had a fake split lip. You remember that in the game he had the fake split lip where it's like a little crack with a little drop of blood? They dabbed his lip like 10 times. He's like, but it's still bleeding, mama. You remember that? So what I'm saying is the Knicks while I don't agree with how they're building this team, what I will acknowledge is the fact that they know what they want to do, and when they have errors in their plan, they will go out and fix it.
Yeah.
Am I on an island? I think I'm on an island.
No, you're not on an island. Matter of fact,
so correct.
Matter of fact, if you want to compare our last time we were in Atlanta, we shored up our rebounding with basically the same roster plus Hart. We started out rebounding them. We basically flushed them on offense because if you remember, it was a shootout that last game where neither of us could miss, and we basically went away from that and made them uncomfortable and made Trae Young shoot 4 for 14, and all he could really muster up was a lot of ticky-tack calls. That's how he got his 19 points. It was mostly free throws. Like, we flushed him. He couldn't get to where he wanted to go on the court, and sometimes he would just settle for the long outside shot because it's like, if I get into the lane, I'm gonna get beat up at that point.
Right.
Let me just take this 30-footer and they'll have eyes 30.
Hey Dre, you know what? You know what I noticed in that game?
Yeah, what's up?
What I noticed about Trae Young is a whore for assists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is Trae Young got into the paint, and if he can't pass directly to the guy that's going to score, he makes a bad play. And so what the Knicks did is instead of recovering, they dictated, right? Like Trae Young gets into the paint. As soon as they see him get to a certain point, they just went out and got to his passing options. And instead of Trae Young keeping his dribble and kicking it back out to the perimeter from where he left,
he tries to end the play.
Yes. with a shot or a bad pass, right? And so instead of us being reactionary, we were dictatorial on defense.
Right. And when you see numbers, he tries to get. I don't want to say this because they're not the same type of player, but if you remember when Rajon Rondo was on the Celtics, there was Rondo assists. Like he was forcing an assist. He was forcing his way to get 11, 12 assists. It wasn't like
screaming
organic
at dudes
or
to
anything.
shoot it. Screaming at dudes to shoot it. Remember that? Rondo would scream at dudes to shoot it. Yeah.
Sound like Prince on Dave Chappelle's skit.
Yeah.
Shoot the J. Shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you can see how he gets his numbers 27 and 10. And it's because he ends or he tries to end every play that he's in the midst of. He's never really getting a hockey assist like that. Like if the ball gets swung around to him, he's not swinging it again. He's making a move. He's calling for a pick. He's getting into a move. He's gonna look for the dump down or the corner pass or the swing pass just to get the easy assist because it's how he lives. That's how he eats.
Because stats mean everything to certain players.
Right.
Result to that play. Yeah.
And because he's not necessarily because he's basically nothing on defense, he doesn't really offer much. The statistics dictate more of his value.
Right.
So if he's not getting 27, like say if he's getting 20 and 8, it wouldn't really be worth it from an optic standpoint to even deal with that if he's going to be such a negative on defense. So he has to be a completely ball dominant type guy where you have to finish the play to
justify his worth, right?
Right,
to justify his worth. Yep. Now, mind you, he's an excellent passer, bro.
Oh yeah,
he's an
left
accurate
hand, right
passer.
hand.
Yeah.
Off the dribble and all that.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes his greatness can be something that can put his team in jeopardy to winning games where if everything runs through him, it's not necessarily like a Steph Curry where Steph might get the ball and then he'll move it and he'll move himself and he'll set a screen for someone else. Trae is setting no screens for nobody on that team. Trae is not moving. Trae is waiting till he gets the ball back so he can decide what he wants to do with the ball. And there's energy in moving the ball. There's energy in moving yourself. There's power in that.
Yeah.
And if you don't utilize that, you're likely to alienate some of your teammates, even if you're getting 10, 11 assists. I feel like guys,
you know who he is. And I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. The dude to me on offense, and I'm gonna use a football analogy, right? The dude on offense is Phillip Rivers, right? That's who he is. A very accurate passer, bro. High passing percentage. Move the ball, throw for a lot of yards. You're like, man, if the team was better, then Phillip Rivers would win us. No, the team is stuck where they are because of Phillip Rivers.
Because he doesn't have that dog.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you ran LaDainian Tomlinson more, right? If you ran Michael Turner more, if you ran Darren Sproles more, if you threw dump downs to Antonio Gates more, right? Think about those all three of those running backs that I just mentioned. All of them were on teams where they rushed for 1,000 yards individually. Michael Turner did it in Atlanta. Darren Sproles did it somewhere else. I can't remember, but he was he might not have ran for 1,000 yards, but he was all purpose 1,000.
He was impact. Yeah, he was very impactful. Like
yeah. But the fact that you got Phillip Rivers throwing slant passes all game and squares and hook passes. You know what I'm saying? You can't win because you're not taking advantage of all the other players in your offense.
Right. And to be absolutely honest, when you get to the upper echelon of playing other teams in the league, they know how to defend pick and roll. You might be effective because you can't stop everyone in the NBA. It's impossible to stop everyone. But they'll get enough stops to make it so that play isn't as effective as you want it to be. And while you're doing all of that pick and roll stuff, they're also attacking you on the other end because you're that much of a weak link. So it's I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not necessarily envious of not having a point guard like Trae Young. I mean, he's very talented. but there has to be an adjustment in his approach to the game where he thinks a little bit more unselfishly. Because ironically, he's getting assists, but he's technically kind of selfish.
But it's not. It's not. Yeah, and the thing about the Trae Young thing is this is not a Trae Young show, but what it is the Knicks made an adjustment internally. They made an adjustment, and then they realized that they kept. And I'm gonna tell y'all how I knew the Knicks were gonna make a move. The Toronto game where Pascal Siakam ran the pick and roll.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Nick Nurse ran it with several different people. The same play. Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes. They
downhill.
ran the same play. Yep, the same.
The water boy.
Yep, and the Knicks could not stop it. Right then, I was thinking, you know what? The Knicks have a flaw in their ice pick and roll defense. And so the flaw in it is not the pick part, but I mean not the roll part, but once that man gets leverage, once he leverages the defense has to scramble and do other stuff. And what it leads to is that somewhere between that 8 to 12 foot range, a guy can get off a floater or a jump shot or get fouled easily every time. We saw it. We saw that when the Dallas Mavericks was doing it, I thought it was just because of Luka, right? But then when you saw everybody trying to do the same thing, so I was like, you know what, the Knicks have to make an adjustment. And what they did, because the Nets tried to run the same thing the other night, right? And I saw Obi on Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, and I was like, Tibbs watches the show. I was in my mind. I'm like, Tibbs watches the show. Tibbs wants to turn Obi into Derek McKee, right? Now, mind you, those dudes did what they do.
That's a name.
Oof. But in certain, but when I watched Obi defend those guys, Obi legit used his athleticism to compete with them defensively. There was no Obi, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. Tibbs said, hey, man, Obi, just stay with that guy right there.
Play.
And when he did that.
Don't think. Just play.
Right. And when Obi did that, he looked like a good NBA defender. There was no Obi, if you get screened, peel out to the next man. Unless it's a non-shooter, then you stay back here. You find the closer guy to the rim. None of that. Because I know Knicks fans will be like, yo, our rotations is killing us. But then when you ask the Knicks fan to explain the rotation that they're talking about, they're like, Tibbs the coach. Nah, you can't say on one hand that our rotations are bad, and then when I ask you why those rotations are bad, you're like, well, we need to fire Tibbs. Bring in no. Now Obi is not that type of defender. Obi. What I think the Knicks are realizing is Obi is better left to just doing the one thing. Sick him, boy. That's what he is. It's like you ever like Dre, you ever told your dog, you ever walked in the room and you yelling at the dog, man, why you chewed up the remote? Now you got batteries and stuff all over the place and you knocked my cup over. And the dog like, he don't know what to do. But then when you say outside, they go to the door, wait on their leash.
And they know what to do. They know what to do then.
Yeah. I think that's what
Tibbs is kind of adjusting to his personnel and allowing certain guys to do certain things that they're good at.
Right.
Instead of overcomplicating it. And then we're putting and then I think the thing I am noticing, even though like Obi is being used more of in a one-on-one way. I've seen Obi blitz a few pick and rolls when teams try to like run an action against him. Right. Like we bring additional help just to blitz and to halt up, and then we have our guys on the backside like quickly like organizing the rotations like an air traffic controller with his arms. Like,
right. Yeah.
Just screaming out where to go.
like a windsock. You know how you go to a car place and they got the windsock outside? That big thing with the air. That's what quickly looked like back there. But it's effective.
Very effective. And I don't want to I don't want that to get overlooked because having a guard that's actually good at that and willing to do that, the finer details, is something that can't be overlooked and overstated.
Right. And so it goes back to the point of the internal improvement. Like here's the thing, whether Worldwide West told Tibbs to shape up or ship out, or whether he told Tibbs that regardless of what, he better play Obi. Obi is here to say, regardless of what the conversation is, you've seen Obi simplify his defensive game where he doesn't have to think, just stay with one man. The other four guys do all the other stuff, all the air traffic controller stuff, right? They do all that other stuff, right?
Right.
And offensively, I think you're seeing the entrance and the evolution of a Tom Thibodeau offense. Yeah, I'm gonna grab a cookie. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let y'all think about that. I'll be right back. All right.
I want to wait till you come back because I was gonna push back on that a little bit.
Well, go ahead. What you got?
I was gonna say we're only shooting. I think our shooting percentages are like 24th in the league, but the reason why we're such an excellent team, I think we're like 6th in offensive rating total, is because our offensive rebounding is elite. Like we generate so many extra possessions compared to the other teams in the league. I think we're number 2 in offensive rebounding. And that's it's similar to the same blueprint that the Memphis Grizzlies have, except the Memphis Grizzlies kind of struggle in the half court and they don't shoot that well. But when Steven Adams was there, they dominated on the glass. They were number 1 in offensive rebounding before he got hurt. And that's the same blueprint they had last year, where they tried to get more possessions than the other team, use their athleticism, use the things that we're born with, their physicality. And that's what we do. We're for sure more physical than the average team in the NBA. I dare to say there is no team more physical than the Knicks on a night in and night out basis.
So I will push back on your pushback, sir.
Right.
Is the Knicks, they do offensive rebound the ball pretty good, and you'll see some improvement when Mitchell Robinson gets back, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. But where the Knicks take this thing to the next level is the one thing that you'll see. The one thing I think you'll agree with me after you hear it.
Okay.
The Knicks are top 5 NBA free throw team, right? Not that they get fouls on the perimeter, but because they constantly pound the other team inside. Constantly pound the paint, right? Constantly pound the paint, right?
That's what they do. Physicality. Yeah, that's what I mean. So that goes into it as well. Yeah, sure.
And part of that has to do with the golden child. And I know people hate the golden child in this moment. Right, and
it's because he ate the oatmeal.
Yes.
Oh, man. Yes. I'm picking on my nephew, man.
But here's the thing: R.J. Barrett going to the rim relentlessly is a part of Tom Thibodeau's strategy in order for us to get open threes. Now, you got to have 3-point makers, right? Like anybody in here ever been in the military? You know how you have a whole squad, everybody got a rifle, a whole bunch of shooters. But when you go out on these things, right? They put all the experts and sharpshooters up front. Because you can have a whole battalion of shooters, but you need a platoon or a squad of hitters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta have a heavy gunner somewhere. So yeah.
You know what I mean. And so what it is R.J. Barrett is going to the rim relentlessly, picking up fouls on the floor, getting teams in foul trouble. So then later on in that same quarter, or later on in the game, when Jalen Brunson goes to the rim and he gets touched slightly, he's going to the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
And what we as Knicks fans is we don't understand this concept of getting the team into team foul trouble. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, dudes going to the rim, and I wish Grimes would do it more often.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the rim and draw contact. So later in the game, when Randle goes to the rim and he gets a ticky-tack foul, Randle can get them and ones. Brunson can get them and ones. Hart can get those and ones. You know what I'm saying? Or even RJ can get them and ones. You know what I'm saying? So you're seeing the evolution of a physical offense by Tibbs.
Right.
In my opinion, it's going to lead to and I'm going to say explosion for a lack of another word, but I think down the stretch, you're going to see shooters like Quickly and Grimes all of a sudden make their mark on this NBA offense because of the evolution of it. We're not running different stuff, but we're running it with different personnel.
I was going to say, Freezy, it's almost like a boxing match where we just keep giving guys body blows after body blows after body blows after body blows until they have to start protecting their ribs. And once they do that, we hit them with the overhand, which is a 3-point shot.
Yeah. And Tibbs had said that from day one.
And that's legitimately how we made the Atlanta Hawks quit last game.
Yeah,
they did.
And that was
everybody had a bloody lip. Y'all watch the game. Everybody on Atlanta had a bloody lip, bro.
You know, I was right here.
You know, I was rolling because the announcer for Atlanta was just crying the whole time.
Oh boy,
Dominique Wilkins and Vince caught up there crying.
No, not
what?
No, it wasn't them.
Was it T? I was about to say T-Mac, Vince Carter. They showed Vince Carter at the game.
Yeah, it wasn't Vince. It wasn't Vince. Yeah, it wasn't Vince and Dominique. It was the other cat that was with him.
On the end, I saw it.
Yeah, he was like, the
older white gentleman. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah.
He's talking about the analysts, not the color guys, not Vince and Dominique, but they were crying too.
Yeah, they had some cover, but not like him, man. I was like, man, somebody get that man, changes the pins, and give him some Ensure and sit him down somewhere.
A boost for breakfast, an Ensure for dessert.
Man, it was ridiculous.
I knew it was going to be a long night because in the first quarter, they were letting us play. We were playing physical, of course. And some games, the refs would be on it and try to like stop it. But we try to play physical with them. And outside of maybe Capella on that team, they are not a physical team.
Bruno Fernando, I don't know why they didn't play Bruno Fernando. Bruno Fernando is the most physical player on both teams.
But he's not that talented, unfortunately.
But he's a big hustle. He's like the brick man from Fantastic Four. Like he don't really do nothing.
Like the thing, Ben Grimm.
But like he don't bring nothing to the table, but he like to fight.
But you know what was kind of like a turning point, not even a turning point, but it looked like the Knicks fed off of was when Josh Hart got that tech. You notice how they got him even more intense.
Because he got hacked. He got hacked on the call or a drive to the rim or something like that.
Yeah, he did. But the team was feeding off what Hart was giving them after that tech. Because they always like, all right, so this is how we're gonna do it, bet. And you saw Julius was just laying wood to whoever was in front of him, the whole time. I mean, it was. I mean, all of them.
John Collins.
Oh yeah, Mecca. He caught like 2 fouls like back to back, and they were both on Randle, and they were like, man, Randle. The commentator, he was like, oh, that should have been offensive foul. But you look at it, Randle's sitting up there. He's setting the precedence. Oh, this is how y'all want to play? Bet. Let me put this wood on your backside real quick. I mean,
it's like their whole team saw like you saw Randle made John Collins quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
John Collins didn't want to be anywhere near the rim. He was flown by the 3-point line. He wasn't looking for no post ups. He wasn't looking for no contact. He was like, "You got it, bro."
Well, what tickled me I thought about an old Mike Tyson interview, and I can't remember who he was talking about.
I know what interview you're talking about already.
when he said he punched him, he said, yeah, and he made it sound like a girl. He went, ew. So, he made it sound like a girl. And that's every time he was hitting him, like Randle come down they were making that that print sound that every time he kept laying that wood on them, bro. It was. I mean, I love the fact that they went in Atlanta and punked them.
So, Finger, that thing that you just mentioned got me beat up in Texas.
Oh, you made a sound they hit you in your funny bone. No. I was about to say.
No, the dude, Terrell Biggs, the dude he was doing that to.
Oh,
was doing a boxing camp.
Yeah.
I think I might have told this story before, but the dude,
you and I talked about that.
yeah. And so Dre, I saw him face to face, right? He was like, "Yeah, when this happens, it's such and such, man. You have to do." And I was like, "You didn't do that when Mike was hitting you to the body. You screaming like a girl." Yeah, no lie, bro. No lie, bro. No lie. And that man was like, "I like him. Give him the stuff. Give him the gear." I was like, "You don't want this." Mike made you scream like a girl on national TV. That dude beat me up. But I ain't gonna tell the whole story. Basically, the dude beat me up. So yeah, man.
Hey.
Oh God.
The dude, but there's a difference between championship contenders and dudes that just box. There's a difference in case y'all didn't know.
So
there's a difference between dude that just play at the Rucker and dudes that play in Game 7 of the finals. There's a difference in case y'all didn't know this.
Yeah, so basically short, long story short, Freezy caught them thunder cookies.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, your mouth will get you in a lot of trouble, bro. Basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to interject too far, but the way the team looks and how the way RJ is kind of just up and down, super up and down. It seems like Brunson and Randall are the floor raisers, and RJ's the ceiling raiser. If you get any consistent play out of RJ, if we had,
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even say that, Dre. I look at him more or less like the sandbag filler right now. And there's no shot at him. No shot at him. It's just that right now, I think what's going on with RJ is mental. Right. Seriously, with all the stuff that's been going on. Because I'm saying the same thing I said when I was rocking with the Queen and earlier. Those trades that were coming up with that RJ his name came up in, I think that affected him more than anything. Bump the contract. I think it was the things with the trade. So he's trying to show everybody that I'm worth being here. You paid me this money, I'm gonna show you. And I think could be clauses on, but he's just playing like he ain't right mentally. He's pressing.
Yeah, he's definitely pressing, and it kind of, I don't want to give it as an excuse, but it kind of like when he had that laceration and with the as soon as that happened, because that was legitimately the best stretch of ball he played in his entire career, like at least like a 20 game stretch or whatever, as far as consistency and efficiency, because he was shooting like 46, 37 and like 77 from the free throw line for like 20-25 games.
Yeah, it's like he got a can of Red Balls from Dave Chappelle.
And he's just like, maybe he's a creature of habit or repetition or regiment or whatever. He might need to just reset himself over this break, which is perfect timing for him.
Yeah, I think Knicks fans just need to relax, bro. Soulfinger jumping out the window on RJ.
I'm not jumping out the window. I'm not jumping out the window on RJ, man.
You talking about 7 games, bro. It's only 7. You talking about 7 games, man, and he's still averaging 17 a game.
Right? Instead of going down, I mean, of course, it's going to go down with Randall and Brunson, but just his overall, he just hasn't looked right, and especially since he's been back for the injury. I'm pulling for RJ. We drafted him. I want to see him do good. Don't get me wrong, like I said, he's had some games where he had me swinging at the air like Trae on Boys in the Hood.
Some of those threes, man, it's like the decision making, but it's also like I feel like Tibbs also puts a battery in his back because he has a role in this offense, whether we like it or not. He is supposed to go out there and attack the rim and put guys in foul trouble.
I'm confused because for the past 6 games, he struggled a little bit up and down, whatever. But the 25 games before that, the dude is shooting 47% from the floor, 38% from three, 74% from the free throw line, averaging 21 points a game, is taking a below career average number of shots. So he's doing it. He was being more efficient. And then February, he hit a streak where he was just struggling. Right. And so before I say RJ need to change everything, let's just relax, man, and let a young player, because no young player is gonna be Michael Jordan, bro.
He needs to work out the kinks. That's all.
Yeah, man. That's all.
Oh no, I'm saying I'm looking at it from, and I feel what you're saying. It's just that the whole thing with those trades, I think some of that's weighing on him a little bit, man.
I feel like I agree with that. I agree. Like it can weigh on him, even though like he has this stoic persona that he holds up, which he's been damn good at it, keeping even keel. But you can see at times, in terms of his decision making, he'll keep taking the shot. And the thing that I did like that he turned down the shot. He beelined right to the rim, drew a foul.
Yeah,
went to the free throw line, knocked down 2 free throws. So
yeah, I love that.
If he knew he didn't have it that night, he just let it go for once and put his head down and drew a foul. And that's sometimes you just need to do that in particular. And I
let me ask you this, Freezy. Let me ask you this. Well, do you think more or less? I kind of look at it as the little brother syndrome. And what I mean by that, you got Randall and Bronson, the big brothers, and they're doing that thing. And he's like, look at me. I want to do the same thing as the big brothers. But his is not popping right now, and we also know that he's a slow starter and a second half player. Remember, before after the All-Star break, he came back like gangbusters.
Right.
So I'm still looking at him to come out like that. Only thing I would like for RJ to do is come out hot, come out consistent and steady throughout the season, and then the game elevates from there.
Right.
You're gonna have your highs and lows, even your stars. They're gonna have their highs and lows.
I don't think it's that, bro. I think that's maybe us speculating, maybe just a tad too much.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I could look at y'all and tell y'all that RJ Barrett, in my opinion, looks tired, looks worn down. Like RJ Barrett has been the battering ram all season. Did we consider maybe that being the battering ram wears down the battering ram, bro? It's like.
And I was Freezy. I was gonna I'm agreeing with you with that, and I feel like he also put on so much weight because he knew his role was to attack the rim,
to be that battering
often.
ram, right?
And he put on like a ton of muscle because he took on that role of I need to get into the paint often and I need to draw fouls because this offense is predicated on getting to the rim,
right,
and then getting to shooters. So coming into the season, he made, to his detriment on defense, he may have put on too much muscle and too much weight for a particular role on offense that to be absolutely honest, he is very good at getting to the rim.
And Dre, and here's the thing that other Knicks fans don't think about too. Who is RJ Barrett's backup that can come in and do what RJ Barrett does when RJ Barrett needs to take a break?
Nobody.
Who is going to be a battering ram from the 3 position to give RJ a break some nights when he don't have it?
Well, we made it. Well, Josh Hart can attempt to do that. Josh Hart attacks the rim now, but before we got Josh Hart, nobody.
Right. And so what I'm saying is RJ Barrett going to the rim as a battering ram, taking a punishing every game. There is no break in sight. RJ has to do this and get worn down and get beat up. Right. And then some nights he just not going to have it, bro. You just not going to have it all the time because teams are going to be so physical with him on nights. Some nights it's just not going to be there because even though mentally, nobody can tell me that RJ Barrett is weak
weak-willed or soft.
No, he's not weak. He's not weak. He's not soft like that.
Soft. Right? You ain't gonna tell me RJ Barrett is soft because When Tim say keep going to the rim, he's gonna keep going, right? But RJ don't have a backup to do that either. So it's like the Knicks depend on him to constantly do this over and 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 over again. And when he get nicked up, he got to still go out there and do it because they don't have a guy. RJ Barrett can't take a day off because there's nobody else that's gonna. Grimes ain't gonna do it. I saw Grimes play in person multiple times. When Grimes starts that thing and he see the defense collapse, he's
getting out of the way,
spin around backwards and throw it back out to Hartenstein at the top of the key. Right? Now he's getting better at it, but that's his tendency. That punishing that NBA players take on a nightly basis is a real thing, bro. And it's a real thing.
And before he had the backup, he was playing 35 to 40 minutes a night, attacking the rim as much as possible.
Yes.
And the only guy that I can say, only few guys in the NBA that can do that often and remain effective are generational athletes like LeBron and Giannis.
Right.
Those are only two guys.
And then think about the stars don't do it no more. Right? How often do you see a game where Giannis is the role man 20 plus times? Never. Because going to the basket is physical, bro. You get beat up doing it.
And Giannis only plays but 32 minutes a night. That's it. He goes all the way in those minutes though, but he only plays those minutes. He doesn't go all the way up into the 40s like sometimes RJ will end up at because of the coach.
Every night just taking a pound and just taking a pound and just taking a pound and pause. But the thing is with it is with RJ, we as fans, we see these things, but we expect players to be everything all the time. And that's impossible.
It's because he's in his fourth year and he's taking incremental growths, but he hasn't taken the big jump that like his contemporaries may have done earlier.
Yeah.
The guys that have gone from 20 to 25 points per game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then another thing too, sorry, Dre, I just want to throw this in real quick. And where he was drafted.
Right.
Because he was the third overall. And that plays a serious, significant part for a lot. You know.
Right, but who are his contemporaries? Like Sophie, like who in RJ's contemporary class does what RJ does on a nightly basis and exceeds what RJ Barrett does?
And is still healthy?
And is still alive.
It's still alive.
Only what I can say is Ja Morant, and he misses about 25 games a year just because.
Yeah.
And Ja Morant, and for those that don't watch Ja Morant, bro, Ja Morant gets a lot of Obi layups at the other end of the floor.
No, he does. But a lot of people don't say that because you love everything else he does. And I like Ja.
to Obi though.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ja. I mean, like I said, I don't have nothing against RJ. And when I was saying about the whole thing in his head, I think he's mad. When I say it's in his head, I think he's mad about it. And this is I'm going to touch of the little brother. I'm going to show you what I got or what I can do. But,
and RJ sees guys from his draft class get $200 million deals. And like he sees Tyler Hero get $140 million, and every time RJ sees Tyler, he gives him 40.
Right.
So it's one of those things.
Let me say this to Knicks fans. I mean, Knicks fans
back up off the board.
Knicks fans. Zion was the number one pick in RJ's draft. Got a max contract, right? How many games have Zion played in the NBA?
See, last time, in the last 2 years, it was within the time he'd been in, he was at 83. So I think he may just be over 100 or so right now. Right. And he's already hurt again. And I was one of those. I didn't want Zion.
Me and Zion played the same amount of games in 2023.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, here's one too.
I could have had a shoe deal with the amount of games I played with him.
Yeah,
Ja Morant got a max. How many games does Ja Morant play every year?
60 at max. 60, anywhere from 55 to 62, somewhere around there.
And one could argue that John Morant on or off the floor with Memphis is the same team.
Mm. He just has the superstar dynamic where
is Ja a great player? Yes. Ja's a great player. But is he as impactful as what you see on the NBA on the ESPN highlight package?
Well, see, that's the thing right there, Freeze. That's the thing you just hit right there. ESPN highlight package. Those guys, they came out and the media jumped on them and made them up what they are. Again, and Freeze, you and I've talked about it. I told you I didn't want Zion because of the injuries. I was really concerned about that. People looked at me like I was crazy, like I had 4 heads, but I was like, no, I'm looking at those injuries because we would have drafted him first round. People would have been back, doing backflips and pop locking and going on. And the minute he would have gone down and wouldn't play for a year, he's a bust. Get him up out of here.
Yep.
RJ is durable. You got to give him that. RJ is durable. Only time he got that one injury, well, beside the hand, and then a little nagging thing when he got kneed and stuff. But he's been durable. Right now, as I said, we as a Knicks nation, a lot of us like to see him do better. I just want him to come out and just keep it a little more steady Eddie.
Bro,
I'm not looking for him to be a superstar.
Luka Doncic had to cut RJ's hand to the finger bone in order for RJ Barrett to miss games.
Yeah,
it's funny, Freezy?
That was the only thing. And he has.
It's funny, Freezy? You know what's funny about that? Luka bumped RJ's right hand, and RJ's own hand cut
into his finger.
His own hand did that.
So that was a lot of force right there for you to do that. And my thing is RJ's durable, man. RJ's like a Humvee, man. And Freezy, you know what I mean about Humvee, man. Humvee, you can drive up a wall. Y'all know you drive all over places. I'm not talking about the Humvees, you see the stars.
No, you talking about the Desert Storm.
I'm talking about a military Humvee. You could drive all over.
Notice he didn't say Hummer, he said Humvee.
V.
Yeah. Not Hummer, Humvee. You drive all over the place in that thing. And that's what RJ is. He's like a Hummer. He's like a 7-ton rolling down the interstate.
You gotta tame your expectations because I've always said this a million times. Development isn't linear, and what RJ is at 22, he may not even be on the Knicks, but he will be something at 25, 26, 27, just like Brunson is at 25, 26. Just like Randall turned into something that we did not foresee coming out of college. Well, not maybe out of college, but when he had setbacks in the NBA, we didn't see him getting to this point or being this perimeter type threat.
Yeah, see, my only thing is because of what the front office tried to do early in the season, the off season with the trade for Donovan. I wouldn't, and it's not that I want to talk this into speak this into existence or whatever. I'm looking at it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to put him in a package to bring somebody else in. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just that's one of the things. But RJ, I'm not making no excuses for him. Whatever, he has his faults, but like I said, I got it. I love it. I love a durable cat. He can go out there and just and handle his business.
Now, I've been sitting back and I've been listening to you gentlemen talking. I want to get my little piece off about RJ. Like y'all said, he's been a slow starter, and I honestly believe because he has that warrior spirit in him that he's going to show up at the end of this, and even in the playoffs, dead behind. You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's been dogging him. I just think he's gonna need some time. Like y'all said, this little period of time. Right now, this All-Star break where he can go do whatever he gotta do, go clear his head, don't think about basketball, don't do nothing. Just relax. Free your mind real quick. And he's gonna come back playing some really good basketball. You know what I'm saying? Josh Hart was brought here for a reason. It's not just to also help, You understand what I'm saying? Everybody's saying he's gonna take his place and all stuff like that. He's here to show RJ how to get to the rim a little bit more easier. Iron sharpens iron. You understand what I'm saying? So I truly believe that RJ is going to be much. He's going to be much better for this transaction and also during the rest of the season. So that's my take.
I, I think we're all in agreement that we want him to do better and to be better, and it's hard to figure out how to say these things because when RJ looks bad, oh my God, it is the worst thing. It's not good basketball. It just looks
Yeah,
horrendous. It just looks
yeah.
bad. And
I,
for however bad it is, there aren't that many players in this league that can look that bad and somehow muster up 16, 17 points. Like, to be absolutely honest.
it's his efficiency that's the thing that kills you. That such because I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes, like I said, he's had me at times swinging at the air like Trey on Boys in the Hood,
It's like,
or
what are
you
you
know,
doing, bro? Like,
yeah,
pass the
and it
ball. Like,
pass the ball, yeah, or he'll take that shot to drive when he shouldn't drive. I mean, drive and not kick it out. And I feel like I'm Bill Duke sitting there,
you done
when
effed
Minister
up, right?
Society, yeah,
I
yeah, I'm
already
sitting there
know.
looking at that.
You know you done messed up, right?
Yeah, that's me how I feel at times when he does some stuff. But then he'll go on a roll, and then you like, okay, okay, that's what I'm
You
talking about.
see you see it, you
Yeah,
see it, but then it goes away. Then you see it again, but I mean, that's what I guess
That's a part of
21,
learning, bro.
22 year olds look
hmm
like when they're in a role that they're supposed to be hyper efficient at, but they're really a high volume player.
Well, I mean, also you got to look at, a lot of the cats coming out now have to learn how to play the game. They come out one and done, really not ready to play. I mean, granted, yeah, you play AAU, but then you get to the league and you're seeing that, hey, this cat a little bit stronger than me, or this cat is faster than me, but I'm bigger than he's faster than me, or he's stronger than me, and I'm bigger than him. Those type things. Um, it's just few things, man. I pull for him because we drafted him. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him succeed because that's our guy. However, if you got a chance to package him
Oh,
to
for
get somebody
sure.
else,
Oh, for sure.
you know, like
If his value
if
is that of something that can bring us a top 20
uh,
guy, top 25 guy,
yeah, I mean, like
it's
if a
bags for you.
Jalen, if I'm just saying, I'm just gonna say a name. This is not gonna happen. Or saying whatever. I'm not playing NBA
I'm
2K and
listening.
throwing names out. But if Jalen Brown was to be available in a sign and trade for something, but you got to give up RJ, I'm like, hey, RJ, peace be with you.
You
I'm
gotta
just
do
saying
what you
something like
gotta
that.
Come
do,
on,
Got
man.
because
to
he's
do what you
already
got to do.
established like that, and I like who doesn't like Jalen Brown's game. I think he's underrated, very much
Yeah.
underrated, and
So I
very
mean, it has to.
overshadowed by his teammate.
Yeah, and it's not about
You know
just
what I'm saying?
throwing out. Because I'm looking at when I say they're a player that can elevate us, that fits what we're doing. If you look at the Josh Hart trade, it has to be a player that can come in and make that move, but be an improvement. Because I
I,
don't
I,
think
I
and
got a I got a question. This is also like
uh,
something that's related to Mitchell Robinson. Do you think part of RJ's efficiency falling off is because Mitchell Robinson isn't there? Because that's half of
True.
RJ's drive game is throwing the lob. And he doesn't have anyone to throw the lob to, so all he's looking to do is finish when he gets that pistol action. And he's the only person on this team that throws lobs to Mitch, if you really think about it. He's the only one that actually looks for him. When you run that pistol action, it's so predetermined that you know what's gonna
hmm
happen. That
Mhm.
like the lob, nobody like nobody really like nobody really respects Sims on the roll compared to Mitch, to be absolutely
yeah,
honest. And you can
Mhm.
throw a ball that's not necessarily a perfect ball, and Mitch will catch it, go down,
Mhm.
gather, and still dunk it. Where Sims has to gather, he's getting blocked because he's 6'8", 6'9". It's it's
Mhm.
it's 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 part of that. It's like when everyone gets healthy, I fully expect an uptick in RJ's decision making, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Y'all bugging, bro.
Are we bugging?
Yes. Because Mitch has been out longer than 6 games.
He's been out. How long has Mitch been out? Like 12?
Mitch has been out for like a bajillion games, bro.
And see, yeah, Mitch has a lot of injuries. He's been injury prone, but he has like these crazy injuries too.
Yeah,
no, I mean, an injury is an injury. It's just crazy, man. You're like, damn.
You know what you can directly link this to? And I'm gonna say this, and people are gonna hate me, but I just ate some Lay's. The dill pickle Lay's, bro. It's why certain people can't lose weight. But anyway, bro, RJ Barrett's struggle is directly linked to Quentin Grimes' struggle. Right? And before we say that, nah, man, because we protect Grimes, right? Grimes is our baby. Grimes, even though I call him ham sandwich, bro, y'all know how we like Grimes, right? And we're not talking about what Uncle Freezy 3 years ago, you said Grimes was a ham sandwich. Okay, all right, okay, yeah. Right now, Grimes is one of our favorite players, right? I know dudes are gonna be like, but Uncle Freezy, 17 years ago, when Grimes was in elementary school, you said, I get it.
He was a ham sandwich, and no cheese.
I get it. I get that part. People love holding up old receipts. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing, Trae. Here's the thing. RJ Barrett's last 6 games, this is scoring, right? RJ Barrett, 17, 4, 20, 19, 15, 14. Those are in descending order, like starting with the Hawks going back a week or so, right? Here's Grimes in that same stretch in same order. Grimes against the Hawks, 6 points, 8 points, 1 point, 6 points, 9 points, 13 points, 13 points, right? If you notice, I said Grimes 6, 8, 1, 6, 9, 13. Right? And then I said RJ in that same stretch, 17, 4, 20, 19, 15, 14. Right? Not mentioning the game against Miami. Against Miami, RJ had 30, Grimes had 17. Right? But since that stretch, since that time, Grimes has fallen off a cliff. Right? And RJ too. Right. And while it seems like I'm trying to sacrifice Grimes to save RJ, what I'm saying is I'm trying to save both. Right. What happens is, bro, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. I watch certain shows, like I watch certain stuff on YouTube, man. People be talking, bro, and it kind of turned my stomach because a lot of people talk, they do zero research and speak from their gut. Right. And some people have big guts, so they have a lot to say, right? But what I'm saying is this: how about before we judge RJ on what RJ did, how about we look at things in context? Like if RJ is struggling, what are the other players on the floor doing around RJ?
Well,
is it an RJ struggle or is it a team struggle? Right?
Yeah.
And if it's a team struggle, who else is struggling? Is it that maybe this unit is outdated? Is it time to bench Grimes and start quickly?
Well, hey, Freeze, I just want to say this real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off. You know what someone said? Well, it's the sophomore slump for Grimes, or he's a later draft pick. You know, it's going to be those type things. Or because he plays hard defense. I was just throwing out some stuff his
defense and Grimes' defense has regressed too, and I'm sad to say that. I don't want to say that about Grimes, right? But his defense has regressed also to the point where you're seeing Josh Hart play Grimes minutes at the end of games. When Grimes used to be our defensive stopper, like y'all remember the Milwaukee game, we were down by 1, and Drew Holiday came down back-to-back ISO Grimes and hit threes dead in his face.
Dotted his eyes about 3 times in a row, I think.
Would he have hit both of those threes over Josh Hart? I don't think so.
Josh Hart would have fouled him.
Yeah, made him earn it, right? Made him earn it, right?
Josh Hart would have made the refs call something at that point.
Yeah, he would have made Drew Holiday hit 6 straight free throws. Could he have? Maybe. But here's the thing I want to mention: like in those same games in descending order, going back from the Hawks, right? Quickly off the bench. 14, 14, 15, 13, 18, 5, 11.
And for a bench player, he's actually hitting consistency.
For a bench player playing with uncertain lineups. When you're a bench player, you play with uncertain lineups. Like sometimes you come in with the starters, sometimes it's all bench, sometimes it's a mix, sometimes so it's like a lot of different things. So while a lot of us pile on to RJ about just like the most, we need to trade RJ for some biscuits. Man, listen. what we need to consider is like how we approach our thinking on Knicks players. Exactly. I know we get a lot of clicks. You know what I'm saying? If you just say RJ is bad, right? Because that's what we are. And I'm not knocking Knicks content creators or Knicks fans. What I'm saying is, if you don't know what you're asking for, stop asking for stuff. Right? Knicks fans are going to be quick to say, well, we need another star. And then you get a star in Jalen Brunson, and then you quick to say Jalen Brunson's not a star. Right? Thank you. The Knicks for the first time since maybe the Clyde Frazier era may have 2 perennial all-stars on the roster at the same time.
Well, I'm gonna say they do have 2 all-stars. They just one's gonna get snubbed because of politics.
No, I mean perennial. Like every year they might go to the All-Star game. Every year they in. That's what I'm saying.
Provided health, man. Provided health. Brunson's gonna be in the All-Star talks every year.
Yeah. And Trey, and so the point that I was getting at is we ask for these stars, right? And then we ask for RJ to develop into a Jimmy Butler type player, right? When you look at Jimmy Butler at 22, was he as good as RJ Barrett?
No.
Hell no.
Was Jimmy Butler in the NBA at 22?
No. He was a senior splitting minutes at Marquette at RJ age. Notice I said splitting minutes. Yes, Jimmy Butler was splitting minutes at Marquette. He was not even a star player at Marquette, bro.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler was only known as a defender when he first came in.
Right. People were like, Jimmy Butler is a big thing of clay. You could mold him into whatever. And then what you find out later on in the process is the dude can't shoot.
Mm-hmm. So Ian Shumpert was in this. Ian Shumpert was in the same draft.
Right. And so what I'm saying is this, man, we are, as Knicks fans, I'm not bashing anybody's fandom. You be a fan how you want to be a fan, but let's bring some truth and context to these things that we put out here in public. Like we putting out here this thing, RJ Barrett looked bad going to the rim, but did y'all know that RJ Barrett goes to the rim with the same frequency as Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell? Nobody mentions stuff like that. RJ Barrett gets to the rim at the same frequency as Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker.
Well, the other thing,
and those are number 1 options, and RJ's the 3rd option.
Mm-hmm. And also, RJ's not a flashy player like a lot of the others. And I know a lot of people want to see some flash to go with that, with their little dash.
Right.
If like to be absolutely honest, if RJ was dunking on someone every 3 weeks, no one would
it'd be a different story too.
About
of course,
you're talking about how his ceiling is this, and just gotta wait around till his jumper starts falling.
Right. As Knicks fans, we want everything and we want it now. And then when I say, well, what is everything? They're like, I don't know. Sure. How do you? Yo, come on. I had to say, no lie. I spoke to like 9 or 10 different Knicks fans on the telephone over like the last 3 or 4 days, right? and the conversation all went along the same way, right? I want everything. Well, what is everything? I don't know. Just give it to me and hurry up.
Microwave.
Yo, and then when I said, well, what about Jalen Brunson is playing at a superstar level right now? And Knicks fans are like, well, nah, he ain't a superstar yet. I just need to see. No, you don't need to see. You don't need to see nothing. What you need as a Knicks fans, what you need to do is look at that 37-45 record that we used to, and ask yourself, is that what you want? 37-45. That's basically what we've been the last 25 years. Every year you can expect to be 37-45.
If I'm not mistaken, I think we're 11 game swing at this point in time with Jalen Brunson on the squad from where we were last year.
Yeah,
11,
bro.
Yeah.
Yo, is Jalen Brunson? What it is we want Hollywood, bro. Dre, this is what we want. This is when you hit me up earlier, when I was talking to you earlier, man. I was, I'm in an appointment, right? I'm in an appointment. Yeah. People are like, yeah, the future. I'm just concerned. These uncertain markets. What's Joe Biden gonna do? Should I put? I don't know nothing about politics, ma'am. All I know is if you put this money here and save it, it won't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's all. You know how you try to be like common sense, like, but I want my money to grow. Well, your money will grow if you stop spending it. You know, so this is like the conversations I'm having. Then I'm hitting up Dre at the same time. I'm like, Dre, I'm trying to like get out of this weird conversation with one to get into a weird conversation with Dre, so Dre can make me laugh, right? So because I throw out like these weird things, so it's a puzzle, Dre. At some point, I think he figured it out that I do this not trolling, but to kind of help myself understand the future or whatever it is Knicks related, right?
Right.
The thing is, the Knicks want a star. They wanted Donovan Mitchell. I wanted Donovan Mitchell. But if you ask me right now who I want more, Donovan Mitchell right now or Jalen Brunson right now, I'll take Jalen Brunson right now.
I want JB right now. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because I get Jalen Brunson and the things that we saved in the Donovan Mitchell trade.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say JB give us something we hadn't had since Moby Dick was a sardine. And that's a point guard.
A point guard, bro. A point guard. And I know as Knicks fans, we've been embarrassed. We've been let down. A lot of times Murphy's Law, whatever thing that's bad will happen, or however you say it.
Jinx, curse.
Right. I know I know we're in the midst of the Gotham paradox. I understand that. But today, a Knicks fan should feel good about where they are.
No doubt.
Why complain about where RJ Barrett is when the team is 6 games over 500 heading into the Thibodeau era? These last 20 games of a season is the Tibbs era. The last 2 seasons, you saw my man go 16-4, 12-8. This year, what's he gonna do with a team that's good and already gelling?
Well, Freezy, you said something earlier when you're on the show with your man from on the mat with Rail. You said something that made a lot of sense. And how the team is playing and coaching wise. And you said, and I told you, already know I wasn't the biggest Tib supporter right off because you said you were rebuilding. Because I really, to me, if you're rebuilding, you need a rebuilding coach. Tib wasn't that type rebuilding coach. Well, we're past rebuild to let's get these games, start winning games. Well, Tibbs is actually the right coach for what we're doing now. Vice bringing in somebody else. And I'm duly noted to saying I'm not a big Tibbs fan especially because of the way things were. But when you broke it down that way, that made a lot of sense and shed more light on it for me to actually step back and look. And I'm like, you know what? Dang, Freeze right. I have to agree with you.
Okay.
When you break that down. And I say that because, yeah, it's not any excuse of protecting RJ, but he is doing his own thing with RJ that we don't know. There's a lot of things that we're not privy to see what's going on. But it got to come down to RJ to do the self-improvement himself as well. So, I'm all for this RJ improving and being being a third option. I'm not looking for him to be the high flyer or the superstar player because we got our two stars. I'm looking for him to be more. I'm trying to think of the right word. Be more of a Swiss Army knife for us at this point in this stage of his development.
I'm gonna post a link that kind of contextualizes
Hey, it's not a video, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's an advanced analytic website that uses data to grade players on their particular skills and their decision making. And this was created as of a few weeks ago, before this like rough spell for RJ.
Okay.
And you see where he needs to work at. Like it's clear as day. You might want to put it up.
Yeah, I see it right now, bro. When I put this on the screen, y'all gonna laugh. And this is the same thing me and Dre been saying all year. Where is it? Let me see. There it is. Okay.
It contextualizes a lot of things that you might not understand just from the eye test. I mean, it does actually match the eye test. So
yeah, the rim shot quality part, I kind of disagree with a little bit. Right. I think
it takes a lot of contested layups, but the reason why it says his finishing talent is high is because he finishes so many contested layups. It just doesn't.
Right.
It looks bad when he misses compared to his average, the average player in the NBA taking those same shots. They would miss them even more than RJ would miss them. So
right.
that actually that contextualizes it a bit.
Right. And where you see the the D plus is what I've been banging the table for the last 3 years.
Yeah, with you on that, Freeze.
The skip pass to the corner. The skip pass to the corner. This dude legit will not make that pass.
It's bad decision making.
Yep, he will not make it, and it has nothing to do with is he driving left, kicking right, or is he driving right? Because he never drives right. Right? Is he driving right, kicking left? None of that matters, bro. It's as simple as, do I want to make this pass or not? Not. Right? My thing is also with the RJ bashing is because what's going to happen is either you like RJ or you don't, right? I'm not trying to sway somebody either way, but the RJ bashing legit is out of hand for those that want to state that they know what's going on with RJ, but they don't. Like legit, like when Soulfinger says, would I trade RJ for an upgrade? Of course. That's excellent. That's excellent what Soulfinger said, because it's a smart play. Would I trade RJ Barrett for a better player? Of course. That's excellent. And I'm glad he said it. But then there are other conversations in general where we hear people say stuff like, we need RJ Barrett to be more like Paul George. Or we need RJ Barrett to do such and such and such and such. Right? And then you look at that other team's record, and the Knicks have a better record with RJ doing this than the player that they mentioned doing what he doing. Right? It's as simple as it's as simple as sometimes we keep up with the Joneses too much.
Exactly.
It's some of it is aesthetic bias. Just some guys look better doing what they're doing. Because if you looked up shooting splits besides free throws, RJ shoots the same percentage as Jordan Poole.
Right. Right. Yeah.
From everywhere, the same percentages.
The same percentages, bro.
And Jordan Poole plays with Hall of Famers, by the way.
Yes. And do they and I ain't gonna lie to you. If I'm Golden State, do I regret giving Jordan Poole his contract? Yes. Right. And here's why, right? Here's why. We thought Jordan Poole was going to be one thing. Come to find out, none of our young core is any good. Kuminga's not any good. Doesn't look like he's going to be what they thought. Moses
James
Moody
Wiseman
is slow. James Wiseman looks like a bust. And Jordan Poole looks like a dude that needs to shoot the ball a high number of times to be effective. Right? Dre, you remember when people said Golden State is doing it the right way, man? They got all these young players and they winning championships. Really? How's their young core look today?
They dumped James Wiseman and not pay $100 million in tax.
Yeah.
And Freezy brought up this name, and they held on to Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, they held on. They kept Kevon Looney over James Wiseman. And they still ain't going nowhere, by the way. You know, it's oh, go ahead, bro.
No, you good. I was gonna say it's if you don't contextualize things and you just throw them out there, you can make anything look worse than what it is.
Mm-hmm. Good point, Dre. Good point.
Yeah, man.
Like you can the eye test and numbers. If you throw anything out there without proper context, you don't know what picture you're painting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, isn't it safe to say that, being, that it's the Knicks and it's other than RJ, because there's other players that everybody could remember at one time, even when Randall was playing, he first got it, people didn't want Randall because he wasn't the
sexy choice.
Yeah, he wasn't the sexy
superstar.
Choice. Yeah, and then when he got the All-Star bid, he didn't, it was not a real All-Star. We're in the bubble, blah, 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 right? He'll never win an All-Star bid again. And then he had last year, then, way things went. He was putting up numbers, just not the same numbers he was before, and the team didn't make it. Not looking at the fact that we didn't have a point guard. But then now this year he made All-Star, and then you had a lot that said, he'll never make All-Star, but now he's a two-time All-Star. But the song has changed.
Yeah.
And it's all right to criticize, bringing a constructive criticism about a player, all of them actually, is not a bad thing. You can't call everybody a hater. However, you can't go on a
diatribe.
Yeah. Thank you for the word. I was having one of my senior moments
of anything.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't, I'm not what, and I'm not gonna say I wasn't high, because when we drafted Deuce, I said I'm not a Deuce. I say I can call myself Deuce high. I'm more of a D block, because I like Deuce. I like the defense. Look, I knew his offense was a long way off, but I love the defense, and I love how he's constantly putting pressure on somebody, and he's coming along. He's coming along his own way. It's slow or whatever, but this is not. And
you see it.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, RJ wasn't the player that a lot of people wanted at 3, because it was upset we got that third pick, because he wanted the first and the second, and things changed up.
And people didn't even really want the second pick until Ja just went crazy.
Yeah.
For that moment.
Yeah. And just the way it went. I mean, it's not trying to build making excuses for him. He's. When you look at it
today, though, because you're not gonna correct the draft, bro.
No.
What about today, though?
Man, look, Freezer, that milk been spilled. You ain't putting it back in the carton. You just wipe it up, throw the paper towel away, and you go get you keep pushing. You still got milk to put over your Frosted Flakes. Keep pushing.
Was RJ a value pick, though?
Is he a value pick? I mean, considering I liked it when we picked him because of what you can do with him. You know, he
No,
has some.
I'm just asking, just like for clarity, is RJ Barrett a value pick?
A value pick? I
Yes.
think he is. Yeah.
Okay. Because what I was gonna say is before RJ Barrett, I can name your first round picks before RJ. And I know Knicks fans love to hear me. They love to hear me bring up names like John Thomas and Clee Anthony Early. I know Knicks fans, I know y'all love to hear me say Kevin Knox's name.
What about Jordan Hill?
Love to hear me say Damian Dotson.
They thought these buzzwords. They thought these buzzwords like we didn't just draft 2 guys in the lottery that were trash. Like actual trash.
Trash, bro. Yo, and so yeah, what I'm getting at is these dudes, bro. Not Knicks fans. Y'all root how y'all want, but I'm in terms of what Knicks fans want from RJ and what they're getting for RJ. RJ Barrett will never, ever
live up to it.
Be able to live up to a Knicks fan expectation. You know why? Because I saw the Knicks take Patrick Ewing with the #1 pick, and no matter what he did, he could not ever live up to what Knicks expectations were. Ever. Right? The Knicks feel like the New Yorkers in general feel like a high profile guy has to be DiMaggio, Ruth. Right? They have to be DiMaggio or Ruth or Mantle or bro. They booed Reggie Jackson out of town.
Man, they booed
New
Derek
Yorkers
Jeter.
did, bro.
They booed Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter, bro. Come on. Yo, come on. They booed Peyton Manning, bro. I mean, Eli Manning. They booed Eli Manning. When the line was terrible.
Mariano Rivera. They booed him.
Yes. Yeah. And so what I'm saying is the expectation is so out of this world for RJ Barrett. I mean, come on. It's not like the Knicks didn't just take Frank Ntilikina and Kevin Knox ahead of him. If Frank Ntilikina and Kevin Knox had the same career as RJ and RJ was here too, if the 3 of them were having the same type of career, we wouldn't even be talking about RJ Barrett, bro.
We wouldn't even be talking about
what about Obi Toppin?
We wouldn't be talking about Grimes or Obi or any of these other guys that we had to replace those picks with, those values picks with.
Right, bro.
Those failed so badly.
So let me ask you this here, because this some. I mean, because I look at it like this. I'm like Mad TV. I lowered my expectations on things and just letting it cook the way it's going to cook. I'm not looking to come out with the microwave mentality on a lot of things, you know. And again, if you got a better option, if you can get something better, that's a better improvement for RJ. Hey, I'm hitting them with the Dame Dollar. Bye-bye, hitting them with the bye-bye.
Right.
Waving at them like that as I package them up and roll them out to bring somebody else in.
But that's in context with any player.
Yeah, any player. Right? Any player can get
you got Devin Booker, and you can trade him for Luka. Goodbye, Devin Booker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's any. But see, this is my thing. Any player can get got. You know.
Right.
So nobody's untouchable.
You got Trae Young, and you can trade him for Jokic. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ultimately, what I'm saying about RJ Barrett is we do this as Knicks fans. We do this thing of if a guy doesn't look the part, if he's not Broadway, we fall out of love with him immediately. Right? Even Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson doesn't look Broadway. The dude is 6 foot, stocky, can't jump.
A generous 6 foot.
Generous 6 foot. He's not fast. You know what I'm saying? He can't jump. He doesn't have long arms. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have short area quickness, but he's smart and skilled. Right? And we look at him like, nah, he ain't a superstar. Really? What do his numbers say? Do his numbers say he's a superstar? Same thing with RJ Barrett, a 6'6" wing player that can't jump, not exceptionally fast, not a fluid athlete, not explosive, but he's 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists on most nights. Right? And we're sitting here talking about, well, if he was only 28 points a game and 7 rebounds, really? You drafted a first round pick and he's 24 and 3, right? Most nights.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with Randall. People are biting their tongues right now on Randall.
Oh man, look, Reezy, we've seen a lot of Randall bashing before, and a lot of the folk that couldn't stand Randall right now, they're rolling up that hated him. It's like, look at him, he breathing hard. Oh, he blinked when he shouldn't have blinked. It was all kinds of stuff with Randall, man. I was like, golly,
Yeah.
Now with him going to the All-Star game, like I was saying, and he's doing what he's doing, because I mean, you got to give that man his credit. Right. You got some that we duly noted Randall. It wasn't even haters. It was like they load that. It was like he didn't shot their dog and then turned around and kicked it. They upset. They upset rolling around.
I'm gonna keep it real freezy. If we had that number 2 pick and we picked Ja Morant, they would have been killing Ja Morant for missing however many times. How many?
Yes.
That like last year when they were winning without him. Do you know how badly he would have got it in New York because his team was winning with him on the bench?
It was a trade. We don't need him.
We'd have been talking about trading him for RJ Barrett. Is what the talk would have been. Yeah, bro, I've been a Knicks fan long enough. I understand.
No, I understand.
I understand the dichotomy. I understand the complications of the Gotham paradox, bro. If we had Ja, and Ja was missing all these games, and we gave him the max,
and you're still winning without him,
and you're still winning without him,
get him up out of here.
We'd have been talking about trading him for
RJ.
But RJ wanted to be here. Yeah.
Well, that's why I said that about Zion. Because I remember a lot of people wanted Zion. Everybody was talking about Zion. I don't hear anybody talk about him now. But when I said, and Freezy, I said, I stand on this one with both feet chest out. I never wanted him because of the injuries. I said that. I was like, man, that's not a good look. He just is, and he just made it over 100 games in his 4th season, and he's already out again. And
you know what else? And here's another thing too that I wanted to mention. Right, just real quick. While Cam Reddish was here, there was a Cam hive. Yo, give Cam minutes, man. Cam this, Cam that. Cam Reddish has been gone a week, right? And all you've been hearing was, man, I love Josh Hart. So y'all was saying
Josh Hart too. They're gonna turn on Josh Hart as soon as he starts missing some threes because he's not a 3-point shooter like that.
So my point though, Sophie, just real quick is we were rooting for a guy because we wasn't seeing him, and then we get another guy to replace him, and they don't even utter his name. Knicks fans are not like, I miss Cam Reddish. I ain't seen I miss Cam Reddish video yet. That's what I'm saying. Bro, Dre, the dangerous thing about YouTube is when people get this, they feel like they can just say anything.
Hot take machine.
Yes. The only thing I'm compelled to do as a Knicks content creator is have fun. When I don't have fun, I'm not doing it. Period. That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying?
Please, you just tickle me with that. I'm sorry, please. I can't stop laughing about that, man. Because when you said you talking about I miss Cam, I started thinking about a bunch of Knicks fans singing that Brian McKnight, I miss you.
Yes. Nobody has mentioned Cam Reddish's name yet. But throughout the summer and all season long, people are like, well, Tom Thibodeau rotations, man. If he played Cam and blah, blah, blah. You bring in Josh Hart. Josh Hart comes in and plays off the rip. You don't hear nobody. And it's a lot of Knicks content creators out there that was wrong for this. They mentioned Cam Reddish's name all the time. And now that Cam Reddish is gone, they ain't said a peep. Me too. I'm with them. I'm guilty of it. I wanted them to play Cam.
Like
I
even
wanted,
when
you know
Cam
what?
had his even when Cam had his good games, we still lost.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And my
when
thing
Josh
was,
Hart has a
I
good
wanted
game,
us, you know,
when
when we
Josh
was
Hart has a
just
good game, we win. It's
yeah.
different. It's just different. His impact is different
Well,
on the actual game.
I wanted us to trade, you know, bring Cam in. That was one play I wanted to bring in because I was looking at we need a wing. We need a long athletic wing. I'm looking at it from that aspect, and I was like, well, starts hearing little rumors about Cam, Atlanta may trade him. I was like, well, boom, there you go. Let's try to get him in, young player, put him in here with RJ. Let's get it going. Right. We got him. And then as reports came out, hey, Tibbs really didn't like the trade. He was against the trade, whatever else.
Right.
He, Grimes was down. You put Cam in. He, his first game, he was like, "Oh, we got something with Cam." Granted, we lost, and then and as it went, but then the Dallas game, he laid an egg. He looked like straight dumpster juice.
Yeah.
And you want to see something funny? Soul Figure and Freezy.
Yeah.
There's a clip of Cam Reddish on the Portland Trail Blazers, his last game, and it's almost the most classic Cam Reddish play. He sinks in for an unnecessary double team to try to get a steal. His man relocates and hits a three, and then the camera pans to his bench, and it's like the assistant coach, like frustrated as hell, like slamming down his clipboard behind the bench because he he gambled for no reason, and then gave up a three.
Yeah, and see, my thing was, this whole thing with Tibbs, because it was duly noted, Tibbs was like, I don't have room for him in my rotation, but he wasn't a Tibbs type player. He wasn't that type player like Grimes is.
Right.
Like whatever.
But so thing, my thing is I understand all of that stuff. What I'm saying is Knicks fans digging in about Cam, and then now that Cam is gone, they don't even utter his name.
Yeah, well, I was gonna get to that part, bro, because with the whole thing with Hart. Because you trade him, and then a lot of people upset. We could have used Cam, and I was like, well, he ain't getting in. All right, but then we traded for Hart, who Tibbs was jumping up and down on in Minnesota about, beating on his chest, flipping tables and throwing chairs, and he gets them, and then Hart plays 3 games straight. 3 games, first game was against Brooklyn. We win and beat Brooklyn. And granted, you can say, well, they didn't have KD and Kyrie. But hell, they beat us before without KD and Kyrie.
They just beat the Heat with the same plays. So
yeah, so
but ultimately, what I'm getting at, maybe I need to say it differently. What I'm saying is, as a fan base, we make up these straw man arguments to be different, right? To be counter to what we see, and then when we get what we want, we search for another straw man argument. To be count, like for instance, we complain about RJ Barrett, and his team won 3 in a row and is 6 games over 500. And people are complaining about, or disguising complaints. They're disguising complaints as constructive criticism.
Well, he didn't do this, so. And then you look up, and then we're winning games. So he must not be that detrimental.
Yeah, man. And instead of, it's like when I used to see there's an offense when I used to play fantasy football a lot, right? And I used to get all the offensive players in this New Orleans Saints offense, right? I used to like to get Devery Henderson, Marcus Colston, Reggie Bush, Drew Brees, right? And every time they used to run the fullback, I used to get mad. Like, oh, why I got all these Saints. And they're out here running the fullback, right? But what it is the fullback was important to the offense because Reggie Bush was not a big pounding running back, right? And Marcus Colston didn't have Randy Moss type speed. You feel me? And Drew Brees was not 6'5" and I'm saying, all that with a cannon arm. So they had to use the RJ Barrett part of their offense, so to speak, to keep the defense honest against the rest of the offense. Right? You talking like you a who that? Yeah, I'm a sports fan, bro. I can't help it. But basically, what was happening is they ran this fullback play, and they used to even throw it to him. I used to get piping hot, boy. I got all these Saints, and y'all they're giving the ball to the one Saint I don't have, right? But basically, what they was doing was keeping the defenses honest, and that's what RJ Barrett is doing for the Knicks. Driving to the lane, going to the hole, flipping up layups, people mad. Oh, he should have dunked it. If that was Paul George, he would have dunked. No, if that was Paul George, he would have got hurt.
And you know what, Freezy? The Knicks are number 2 in offensive rebounding. If RJ wasn't throwing up them bricks to get cleaned up, wouldn't be anywhere near them. If RJ just decided to defer and not be aggressive and do nothing.
And Dre, and we're 5th in free throws made, and we can't even shoot free throws good. Imagine if we shot free throws good. This is like, these are the small things I'm saying. Like, instead of us thinking RJ Barrett is going to levitate from the 3-point line and slam dunk over the top of Embiid, we should just consider maybe we are just good at what we do best. We don't have a James Harden, so we don't ISO point guards. We don't have a Joel Embiid, so we don't have a center that's an offensive juggernaut. But we do have a Brunson. Yes, but we do have a Brunson, a Randall, and an RJ. And maybe I'm sorry, go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead, because you cooking. I didn't mean that. I thought go ahead, you cooking.
What I was gonna say is maybe our evolution is step by step and not fast forwarded. Maybe this is the summer that we add the knockdown shooter that this team desperately needs. Notice with Tibbs, we added a force on the inside that can shoot threes. We added a slasher, right? In year what was that? Year 1 of Tibbs, we added those two. Last year, we tried to add a pick and roll maestro and a spot up shooter, and it backfired, right? This year, we added a pick and roll maestro, and it worked out for us. So maybe next year, this summer, we add the knockdown shooter, and we get all the elements of a modern NBA offense.
Or in time, Grimes develops into the knockdown shooter.
You're right. Or quickly, or someone, or Obi, or someone becomes that guy, right? But the thing about it is the Knicks were a terrible team. The Knicks were a terrible team. Tibbs inherited a terrible team, and he took that terrible team to the 4th seed in the East. And it was luck, because we tied. It was a 3-way tie, then it was a tie, and we won the 4th seed. Us, Miami, and Atlanta. It was a 3-way tie down the stretch, and then it was just us in Atlanta, and then we got the tiebreaker over in Atlanta, so we finished 4th and they finished 5th, but we still wound up playing each other, right? And then the next year we go out and get Kemba Walker, who, of all the NBA players in the world, he's the one I dislike most. I dislike him more than I dislike Spencer Dinwiddie.
Washed.
And it don't matter if he was a Knick or not, because he shouldn't have said what he said about the Knicks, bro.
What did he say about the Knicks? I may have missed it.
That clown gonna sit up in Boston after he signed. He's like, well, how close were you signing to the Knicks? And he was like, well, if they would have signed Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler and Kyrie Irving and drafted Zion, I would have thought about signing there.
Who does he think he is?
Who the hell does Kemba Walker think he is? I saw it, and people are gonna be like, I don't remember him saying that. So what? I saw it. and it don't matter if it's old. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk about my Knicks like that and just think you get away with stuff.
And then that's why his last opportunity.
Durant.
He came here crawling for his last opportunity to start somewhere. And
then I'm coming home on the I'm coming home family tour.
And no, I didn't like him while he was here. And yes, every time I got the opportunity to bash him while he was a Knick, I did it. Yes. Because I'm a Knicks fan. I've been a Knicks fan for a long time. You don't disrespect my squad like that. You know what I'm saying? And yes, he's from the Bronx. And yes, I got relatives from the Bronx, same neighborhood. But you don't say that about my Knicks, man, and just think you're going to get away with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know a lot of people like, man, Uncle Freeze's pet is just competitive talk, man. He was just throwing a shot at a division rival. Nah, man. I love the Knicks. You ain't gonna just bash my team just for the sake of bashing my team. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so he out the league right now. Good riddance. Hope you working at the post office somewhere. No disrespect to the post office, by the way. But the point that I'm getting at is the point that I was getting at before Kemba Walker who turned my stomach is that I think the Knicks are building step by step. They got the interior presence that's developing in 3-pointer. They have a slasher that's getting better day to day. They went out and added a point guard who is a difference maker. And now all they have to do this offseason in free agency or in the draft is add a couple of steady 3-point shooters, and I think the Knicks are going to be on the way.
We're basically trying to see what works as we go, while fitting parts in, and not necessarily having to trade a whole lot to get these parts. Because I remember, I'm mentioning, like, we got Brunson for free, we got Randall for free. We got RJ for cap space for free. We drafted him
for free. Yeah.
So and I mentioned this to Freezy earlier today. That Wizards pick, we might get that pick actually.
Yeah.
on top of the Mavs pick.
Yeah.
So it's not even looking that bad that we even gave up our own pick potentially for Josh Hart. Because in the here and now, he fits a need, and he's gonna be here, and he's a glue guy. He's not a guy that's gonna take up a whole lot of usage. He just fits. That's what he does.
Right.
He fits. He's here to fit.
Right. Yeah.
I can say I'm not jumping out of the window, but I mean, 3 games in, the way he's playing, it's that trade is paying off. Because you think about it, the other trades. I was looking at Sadiq Bey.
Where your Cam Hive at though?
Man, Sadiq Bey looked lost on that team. Like he wasn't getting no rhythm. He just looked like a guy. He just looked like just a guy.
He looked just a guy. He didn't fit in with that. And I actually, I wanted Sadiq Bey because I didn't think of Josh Hart. I didn't think Josh Hart was gonna get. When we made the trade, I was like, "Word, that's a good trade." Granted, I know it was. He's only 6'5", 6'4", 6'5".
Plays big though, at least.
I wanted Josh Richardson, man, but whatever.
But the way he plays, though, you swear he bodies and plays everybody like he's like 6'8", 6'9". And the fact.
Let me change the subject real quick though, because let me shift real quick because I'm gonna get out of here in a little bit, man, and lay it down, man. But is the Tom Thibodeau 9-man rotation thing a thing going forward?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so.
And it would be situational if he had to open it up to 10, because as far as it would go,
it would be foul trouble where it would bring Deuce in. The only thing I don't like about the rotation is I don't think Tibbs should be running our guys full quarters. You know what I'm saying? Like he needs to stagger it so like one of Brunson or Randall are on the court at all times.
So you want to do the analytical approach instead of the feel approach?
Well, feel is cool, but the analytical approach does work. And you see Tibbs goes with the analytical approach. It's just that he matches superstars with Randall on that approach, where Giannis comes out at like the 6-minute mark, so Randall comes out at the 6-minute mark.
And so
if Kevin Durant out at the 9-minute mark, Randall comes out at that mark.
What I'm going to say about the thing with the analytical approach though is, regardless of what the other coach is doing, you just go by what the analytics department says. Sub Randall out at 9 minutes at 3 minutes. Like play him 9 minutes and sub him out at the 3-minute period, right? And don't bring him back until the 9-minute portion of the second quarter. Take him out at 5 minutes, bring him back at 3 minutes, let him play the rest of the half, and then do the same thing in the first half. And then basically what that does is it gets Randall at 34 minutes a game. And with those other 14 minutes guaranteed, Obi's on the floor.
Yeah.
And if you staggered it like right in those other 14 minutes, for example, because we have high usage players, Brunson would be on the court, like just staggering.
Right.
Like if you're gonna let a guy run a whole quarter, let Brunson run the whole first quarter. You sub Randall at like the 4 minute mark or whatever, 4 or 5 minute mark in the first quarter, and you bring Randall at the beginning of the second quarter, so he can run with the second unit and be like an anchor. And then you can let him run with Quickly or RJ or whatever for a minute or so. Then you sub him out around the 6 minute mark. You bring Brunson back in. Then you bring Randall back in to close the half around 3 minutes left in the quarter, which is basically the same rotation that you see Giannis do. It gives Giannis his touches against other teams' second units, where he's not battling and bruising against first line guys every single second. And it gives you rest in between. It preserves your guys.
So what big is going to the bench? If we're going with 9 men, what big is staple to the bench?
Staple to the bench, period, for like all the time. I think we could still play the same guys. It'll just be like when like for instance, if we were to take Randall out early in the first quarter, you bring Obi in at like the 4 minute mark or whatever or what have you. You let Obi play the rest of the first quarter, and you bring in Hartenstein. Like it's since we run four bigs regardless. We run two centers, two power forwards. So
when Mitchell Robinson comes back,
Sims is going to the bench.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sims he's going. Yeah, Sims. That's automatic. That's gonna be. He's gonna be situational.
Yeah, Sims is there because he does Mitch stuff while just being shorter. That's what he's there to do Mitch stuff. But he's shorter, so he doesn't have the same impact, which is why we bring Hartenstein off the bench as the change up, so we run our unit a little bit differently. And we do a lot more dribble handoffs between him and Quickly, and you see it's for the change up, like for how we want to run our offense of the second unit.
Would you consider playing Obi some at the 3?
But then, if we did that, right, then well, then who would be at the 4? He would be playing with Randall at the 4.
Sims.
Wait, it'll be Sims, Obi, and who's the center?
Hartenstein.
I don't. It make me question the spacing. Like in theory, Hartenstein can space in theory, but teams still drop off of him.
Hartenstein with the corner 3 and Obi with the straightaway 3 from top of the key.
Yeah, but then a lot of the times we do run dribble handoffs between him and IQ, and teams drop off in the drop when they do that. And teams don't necessarily really respect Hartenstein from history, even though he can. But I think I did notice that we did do when Hartenstein and Sims played. They use Sims as like an off-ball screener just to generate some sort of spacing, because he initially would be in the corner, and then Sims would come down and then start setting screens. So I mean, in theory, it could work like against second units where like small forwards off the bench aren't necessarily dynamic scorers as they are from starters.
Yeah, so, I mean, and some teams could work, but some teams do have like that too. Like they'll have a combo guard, Cam Thomas.
Oh, right.
Or Bones Highland.
Or the guy that just went to Phoenix. Well, no, you're talking about a combo guard. I was thinking about the threes. Like what's his name?
You're talking Orlando. About
Terrence Ross. Like I personally would not want Obi to be chasing around Terrence Ross if that was a thing.
Okay.
Like guys like that, I don't want to see that happen, because Terrence Ross can be very explosive once he gets going and
microwave-ish.
Yeah, so it's those are the guys you don't want him to be on. Like if we're going against like a shifty 3 that's like 6'6", that's just very slippery, that can take advantage of Obi on like curls and pin downs and get to his spot.
But that's for any NBA small forward.
For sure.
Any NBA small forward that's going to get screened is just going to be screened.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I get that part. What I'm saying is this: how would you like to see a quickly Hart, Obi, Sims, iHeart combination off the bench? Those five versus a Brunson, Grimes, RJ, Randall, Mitch starting five.
Well, then, wait, because I'm trying to count in my head. Okay, so we'd be going 10-man deep at that point.
10 deep. Obi at the 3.
Okay, I'm thinking because Tibbs at his best, wherever he's been, like when his teams are consistently winning, he's been at 9, which is why I err
Even
on
on
the
that streak, we went 9.
But Tibbs at his best. See, this is the other thing, Dre, I was going to say to you too. Tibbs at his best with that 9-man rotation still plays 13, 17, 19 plays in a season. You know why he plays 19 men in a season with that 9-man rotation?
People get hurt.
Because people get hurt. Yep. It's the reason why Tibbs will say stuff like situational. It's situation based. You know what I'm saying?
He was super vague before games when he asked, like, who's starting tonight? He's like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Other coaches are just way more forthcoming.
Yeah.
So just like, well, maybe we'll see how it goes.
Real quick before I get out of here, man. I gotta walk this dog. I know it's 2:00 in the morning, or shoot, 3:00 in the morning. But I got a pit bull that likes to walk, bro. If not, he'll like jump on the furniture in the living room. It ain't nothing like having company. You having company and your couch smell. Your white couch smell like pit bull. but anyways. Just real quick. At the All-Star, at the halfway thing, right? Are you satisfied by what you see?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm satisfied. Right now? The things that I could pick on are so minuscule. Well, not completely minuscule. Like I'm really talking about rotations at this point. Like how I want the minutes to be allocated.
Rotations or adjustments?
Like I mean minute allocation, like
distribution.
Yeah, minutes distribution, where it's like I mentioned how I don't think it's okay to just run your top guns like the whole first quarter. Sometimes you can
I agree with you. I'm gonna tell you what I would do. This is what I would do, right? And it's gonna sound like I'm losing it. I'm not. Throw. Randall comes out every game with fresh legs, right? Mm-hmm. And he likes to get those threes off at the beginning of a game. If you notice, Randall's 3-point percentage in the first quarter is higher than it is in any other quarter, right? What I do is I feed into that, right? And then I take him out at the 6-minute mark and rest him, right? Let Obi finish the quarter and then bring him back in at the beginning. Now, I'm not splitting their minutes now. What I'm saying is I'm going to give him the minutes differently and separately, right? And then at the end of the game, what I would do is look at a lineup of off the bench, iHeart, RJ at the 4, Josh Hart at the 3, Grimes at the 2, and Brunson or quickly at the point. And then what that does is it saves Randall's all-around game for late in games where he disappears. Because we all know Randall disappears late. Bro, it's hard being 250 and play that hard for 38 straight minutes.
And then still have the legs to do step back threes when you need it. Which is why he's not very efficient, like jump shooting wise towards the end of games.
Towards the end of games, because it's hard being at 250 when you're also grabbing 10 rebounds. But think about this. The year Randall had 2 years ago, where he averaged 10 rebounds a game and 40% from 3, how often do you see that?
Never. I think only like Larry Bird did that. And he was taking way less threes for the time, of course.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is ultimately either you're a rebounder or you're not. Either you're a 3-point shooter or you're not. And so to have a player that could be both is like that unicorn type player that we're talking about, right? So instead of having Randall shoot till he gets cold in the first quarter, because you know when Randall gets cold, because he'll throw up a heat check, and then if it don't go in, it'll look like a frisbee. It'll look like a UFO at the rim, right? So you know
what's that game, Duck Dynasty, when you shoot the ducks that go flying out of the air?
Yeah,
looking like that.
And that's what I mean, Freezy. Like when you take him out at the 6 minute mark, like if you watch the Bucks, for instance, when Middleton is healthy, they take Giannis out at the 6 minute mark. They let Middleton run the show for an extra 3 or 4 minutes. Then they bring Giannis in at the end of the first quarter and let him run through the beginning of the second quarter against second units with fresher legs.
Right.
And he just obliterates those second units. Then they take Giannis out at like the 7 minute mark of the second quarter. They bring Middleton back in and just do that all over again. Then they bring Giannis in at the end of the quarter around 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah. And you'll be amazed what easy shots do for a player's confidence.
Right. Like I would love to see Randall just tee off on other teams' second units.
Right. And so my strategy is, by saying that, my strategy is let Randall do that at the beginning of the game, right? And then in the second half of the same game, let RJ be in that role. Right? And what that does is it gets RJ easier looks at the rim, at the 4. And it's not like you lose rebounding because you have him next to Hartenstein and Josh Hart. So you don't lose rebounding at all. Now the floor may not be as stretched because depending on what guard you have, what lead guard you have in there, whether it's Quickly or Brunson. Yeah. The floor spacing might be a little bit different, but that's where you have to be creative. We're getting Obi Toppin that straightaway look from 3, and Hartenstein that look from 3 in the corner, and Jericho Sims being the screener, the lob threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Obi, because what happens is I've watched the offense and Sims and Obi, and you see Obi be the lob threat. So what the hell are you gonna do with Jericho Sims? He may as well sit down and eat a sandwich because you know he ain't gonna shoot, right? But so instead of Sophie, you see where I'm going? Instead of Obi Toppin being the lob threat, and if the lob is not there, now 2 players are neutralized. You can have Jericho Sims be the lob threat and Obi spotting up for 3.
You flip the script on them.
Yeah,
and I've seen like earlier in the year when we were running like lineups and because of injuries we had Sims and Hart out there. Sims would come out and start setting screens all over the damn place. Just to free up something. Even if he's on the weak side by himself in the corner, he'll come over, set a screen.
All the way over, drag his defender with him. And you know what I'm saying? And the interesting thing about that is when he was doing that, this is the month where Obi was out, right? That you're talking about, when Obi Toppin was out. The interesting thing is Hartenstein got a lot of looks from that corner 3.
Yeah, he got a ton of open shots. Because they would put teams would try to put the traditional center on Hart, not realizing Hart will stretch out in space anyway. Even if he's not hitting, you still have to acknowledge it and respect the space.
Yeah.
Well, also with Hart is his passing ability too. He's a pretty decent passer for a big.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing too, real quick before I get out of here, is this Hartenstein getting healthy. So you got Mitch getting healthy, right? You got Hartenstein, who is almost 100%. I think he's like at 90% off that Achilles injury he had. He was playing for. So he looks slow and out of sorts and all of that. But man, you a lineup with Hart, Obi, Sims, and a guard. I think that lineup is pretty athletic. Because Obi's athletic, Sims is athletic, Hart is kind of athletic for a 7-footer. You know what I'm saying? Josh Hart you don't know if he's athletic or not. You know he brings a lot of energy and quickly. I think I kind of like that. I think I kind of like the Obi at the 3 idea.
I would have been more hesitant to the thought, but seeing how Obi's been on a perimeter, like attempting to check actual perimeter players, he's on them, like he's all over when he doesn't have to think about all the secondary rotations and thinking about covering the backside and the deep side help.
Anticipation
And some of that is just IQ's doing the thinking for him. Like when you see IQ scramble, he's like seeing what Obi's doing, and then he'll scramble and get all the way back to his man, all the way across the court for a contest.
Right. Ihart's a smart defender too.
Yeah, and I'm saying like the added dynamic of Josh Hart with him being a very smart defender that allows Obi to make a mistake and we can recover because we have 2 guys back there from the guard position that basically knows where everyone is at all times in terms of rotations.
And dictate and the defense is dictating to the offense as opposed to reacting to what the offense is doing.
Right.
It basically what I'm getting at, everybody, is instead of running a Lovie Smith Tampa 2 with Urlacher and Lance Briggs, that's reactionary and just has great tackling all over the field. It's a Buddy Ryan style attacking defense that makes offenses, second guess themselves. But anyway, let me get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us, man. We've been rocking for like 4 hours and some change, back to back, no breaks. So, but Dre, sir, as usual, it's a pleasure. Soulfinger, Adam, Corey Lee, thank you everybody for rocking with us.
Salute.
We'll holler at y'all later, man. Peace, y'all.
All right, be easy, fellas.